Hello out there today. Before I get into what I want to share on today, I want to say everything that God leads me to talk about, to share, to encourage you on, I've been the example for. I've walked through that season, or I'm walking through that season. But today I want to share with you another valuable thing that I am learning on this walk with God. Because I was so used to being in survivor mode, being in hustle mode since I was the age of 13. And let me give you a little more insight into that. See, I never wanted my children to experience the level of lack that I experienced. And I didn't understand it at the age of 14 as far as why my drive was so intense. I started working at the age of 15. I worked many different roles, several companies. Most of my teenager and adulthood and then I became an entrepreneur. And in my entrepreneurship, the drive intensified even more because I was responsible for every aspect of my business. Notice I said I, and it didn't even have to be that way, but that was my mindset. And when I say every aspect, I mean growing the business, operating the business properly, the marketing, the financial piece of the business. So what did that have me doing? That had me continue in that survival mode, that hustle mode. Because again, I never wanted my children to experience the lack that I experienced. I didn't want them to experience the financial challenges or have to deal with the financial challenges that I experienced, which I'm learning in this walk, was a part of my foundation, was a part of God doing what he needed to do in me, building character in me. So I don't speak of any of that as if it's a bad thing. But up until, I would have to say, 9 months ago, I was still in that survivor mode, that hustle mode, because it was a matter of, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? I can't allow my kids to see me fail. I can't allow them to feel the pressures of things myself as a mother felt like I had the ability to handle, to change, to secure. But it's when God removes me out of the environment where I was so used to having to be in survivor mode, having to be in hustle mode. And when I tell you that was so difficult, that was so hard, because I never felt like I had to necessarily, I won't say depend, but lean on people the way that I leaned on people. But most importantly, really trusting God, believing God, exercising my faith. Because I was so used to going, working, in order to reach the goals that I had in mind for myself. I felt like it took hustle. It took grinding. It took sacrificing. And in entrepreneurship, it does. It takes sacrifice. It takes work. But not to the point where you lose yourself. You lose sight of God. You take God out of the equation, only to make it harder on yourself. So in these 8 months where God has had me in a resting stage, where I'm not as active in the sense of busying myself to try to accomplish things that He wants to do for me, and do it on a greater level, do it on a level that isn't possible in my ability to do. And I don't have to sacrifice at the level that I have to sacrifice. I don't have to hustle the way I felt like I was hustling. I don't feel like I have to grind the way I was grinding in order to ensure the success that God has already predestined, the greatness that God has already predestined. Yes, there's work that I've had to do and I'll have to continue to do. But the work has been internally. The work has been my relationship with Him, growing deeper with Him. The work has been understanding my value. The work has been getting on these platforms and allowing Him to use me. The work has been preparation mode. The work has been my obedience. So the valuable thing that I want you to take from this, and the valuable thing that I'm learning also in this season, is that as a child of God, you don't have to hustle. You don't have to grind. You just got to be obedient to what God is telling you to do. You got to be willing to to put in the work that he's telling you to put in. God has already blessed the workmanship of our hands. When he created us, when he created this earth, he called it good. So I'll be the first to say, well, I'm not the first to say, when he calls you to rest, to focus on being in relationship with him, to understand your value, to have you doing his work. Do that and understand that does not mean that you're not doing enough. That was my thing. I'm not doing enough because I was so used to doing so much. Thinking that my doing so much was going to be the cause of my elevation, was going to be the cause of my success, was going to be the cause of my greatness. When ultimately, God is responsible for all of that. In our obedience, in our willingness, in our belief, in our faith. Society has made us believe, or things that we've experienced in childhood and life, to think that the way to success is hustling and grinding. When in God's kingdom, it's given to you. In your obedience. And whatever that looks like for you from God. We don't have to try to figure it out. God is into the details. God provides the provision and resources for whatever it is that he'll have you to do. Wherever it is that he'll have you to go. Favor has been my currency in this season. Not the finances, but favor. That's all I have for today. Until next time, I'll see you all later.